Hi, and welcome to another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist. I am your host, Dennis Richkovsky. Some of you recognize me as the co-owner of Flip Flops Donuts, and some of you know me as your broker of real estate who specializes in waterfront and water view properties along the Crystal Coast, especially on boat banks and in my town of Emerald Isle, North Carolina. On this channel, you will find essential information from the inside scoops on buying and selling houses to how to live with the ocean, rivers, and sounds that define the Crystal Coast. Today's episode is all about the weather, and more accurately, the climate of my favorite place in the world, Emerald Isle. Whether you visit here occasionally or live here full time, getting to know about the climate of Emerald Isle and the Crystal Coast is a story worth telling. Before I begin, please subscribe to my video channel now or at the end of this episode. Many people who come into my Flip Flops donut shop in Emerald Isle ask about the weather, especially when they are on vacation, and especially if it is raining at the minute. I usually respond with an old saying about Emerald Isle weather that goes, if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. That's because the weather is the conditions in the atmosphere over a short period of time. Indeed, it is what impacts life and human activities over a short period of time, like a week's vacation. Most people think of weather in terms of temperature, humidity, precipitation, cloudiness, brightness, visibility, wind, and maybe atmospheric pressure. Although many people conflate weather and climate, they are different. Weather, as I already explained, is the condition of the atmosphere over a short period of time, while climate is the condition of the atmosphere over long periods of time. Climate can mean the average weather for a particular region over time, and that time period can be 30 years. As much as the weather can change every 15 minutes here in Emerald Isle, in order to give my customers an accurate description of atmospheric conditions, I usually speak in terms of climate. When vacationers ask about the weather, what they really want to know is how sunny it will be, on average, during their stay here in Emerald Isle. I tell them that, on average, there are about 215 sunny days per year in Emerald Isle. The U.S. average is 195 sunny days. So Emerald Isle is probably sunnier than the vacationer's hometown. And that's a good thing. Vacationers also want to know what are the chances rain will interfere with their outdoor plans during their stay. And in Emerald Isle, we get roughly some kind of precipitation on average, 114 days per year. The U.S. average is 106 days. Precipitation is any rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls to the ground in a measurable amount exceeding 0.1 inch. And Emerald Isle gets 58 inches of rain on average per year. The U.S. average is 38 inches of rain per year. So chances are good that vacationers will experience some rain during their stay here in Emerald Isle. But regardless of when vacationers visit, they are not likely to see snow. Emerald Isle averages about an inch of snow per year, while the U.S. averages 28 inches of snow per year. Vacationers who are thinking about the prospect of relocating to Emerald Isle often have more specific weather, they really mean climate questions. I tell them that in Emerald Isle, August is the warmest month with an average temperature of 86.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And while that is warm, 86.2 degrees Fahrenheit ranks Emerald Isle as cooler than most places in North Carolina in August. In Emerald Isle, there are 9.4 days annually when the temperature exceeds 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also appreciably cooler than most places in North Carolina. In Emerald Isle, there are 5 especially comfortable months of the year with high temperatures in the range of 70 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. These 5 months of the year are April, May, September, October, and November. January registers the coldest nighttime temperatures in Emerald Isle with an average of 34.7 degrees Fahrenheit. And yet, this makes Emerald Isle one of the warmest places in North Carolina. In Emerald Isle, there are 35 days annually when the nighttime low temperature falls below freezing, and there are 0 days when the nighttime low temperature falls below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, making Emerald Isle, again, one of the warmest places in North Carolina. I tell prospective new residents that the humidity in Emerald Isle can be oppressive, especially during the summer months of June, July, and August, when the percentage of water vapor in the air exceeds 70%. The prevailing winds from the southwest, however, do moderate that humidity. The annual rainfall of 58 inches, coupled with 114 rainy days annually, means that Emerald Isle is one of the wettest places in North Carolina. And although August is the wettest month in Emerald Isle with 7.5 inches of rain, July is actually the rainiest month in Emerald Isle with 13 days of rain. April is the driest month, not only in terms of the amount of precipitation, roughly 3 inches, but also in the number of rainy days, about 7. The wettest season is in autumn, which accounts for 32% of the yearly precipitation. An annual snowfall of about 1 inch in Emerald Isle means that it is one of the least snowiest places in North Carolina. December is the snowiest month in Emerald Isle, with about a half an inch of snow. Days with more than an inch of snow on the ground are exceedingly rare, and these days almost always occur in late December and early January. Indeed, I can remember only 3 significant snowfalls in Emerald Isle, and all 3 were within the 2 weeks surrounding New Year's Day. I am recording this video during what we locals call summer here in Emerald Isle. Summer for us begins when the number of vacationers diminishes after Labor Day. With fewer vacationers, the town and all of us locals can get back on island time. Humidity's low, the air temperature is dipping back down into the 70s, as is the ocean temperature. We can open windows and enjoy the cool sea breeze. Days remain long, dry, and sunny. I can watch the sunrise and set from my dune deck overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. The greens of the leafy vegetation are greener, and the blues in the sky are bluer. The flounder are catchable and keepable, and oyster season is upon us. Lines are shorter outside my donut shop, and I'm able to stop and speak with my regulars. Heck, lines are shorter or non-existent in front of all of my favorite places to hang out. My companions on my walks on the beach are mostly shorebirds, a few pelicans skimming along the ocean, and the occasional angler surf casting. I'm barefooted in shorts and t-shirt. And I can usually wear this basic uniform until about Thanksgiving. Come join me. Experience summer the way Emerald Isle locals experience it. Your body and your brain will thank you. The only weather event that can interrupt what we locals call Emerald Isle summer is a hurricane. And speaking of hurricanes, Hurricane Ian is making its way up Florida's west coast as I record this video. If Ian continues on that path, chances are good that Ian will dump 4 to 5 inches of rain in Emerald Isle by the week's end. However, if Ian tracks across the Florida peninsula and enters the Atlantic Ocean, we may be in for far more serious weather. For further updates on what we locals call summer in Emerald Isle, subscribe to my newsletter by texting your email address to 919-308-2292, or sign up for my blog on my website, www.eihomesforsale.com, and subscribe to Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist on YouTube at the end of this video. Stay well and stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel below, and definitely return next week to the same bat channel at the same bat time of 9 a.m. on Thursday for another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist.